Welcome everyone to the monthly technical steering committee of the EVerest Open Source project. This month we also got a lot of updates, had been a lot of side activities, and we finally have our big new EVerest stable release published. Just this morning, a lot of refactoring happened. We are able to cross-compile between different targets with Bazel. We have the entire documentation merged. The mono repo is now live with the stable release. We just had yesterday an amazing webinar with SunSpec and the European Commission, and there's a hackathon to be announced. So let's get started. And if you watch this on YouTube, you can just jump in the show notes to the chapters. We quickly have to show the antitrust policy because there might be competitors here in the room. But let's get started with the development update. Pete, you want to take that from here?
Yeah, sure. You can go to the next slide where we present the core updates. We have been focusing on stability a lot in the last months. And this is also represented here in this update. I don't want to go through all the changes that are mentioned here, but highlight the scaling thread pool feature that we have added to the framework for the message handling. EVerest is handling quite some MQTT messages, and we added a scaling thread pool mechanism so that modules that actually require to process a lot of messages like the EBSE manager can scale up, and modules that are mostly idle do not use that many threads. That allows us to process messages quick enough, but also do not use up too many resources. So that was a good addition. Quello contributed support for cross-compilation toolchains for ARM and Arch64, and they are also included in the CI pipeline, so built on every pull request that is done in EVerest. And the third point that I wanted to highlight is that we added documentation for the EVerest development container, which should ease up getting started with EVerest. So yeah, feel free to have a look at this. Can you switch, Marco?
Yeah.
Right, on the cloud side, we were able to get the pull request for the configuration key mapping over the finish line. That is a big requirement for putting the currently different storages of OSPP 1.6 and 2.x together, so they actually access the same data, and it allows for easier switching between the protocol versions while maintaining the configuration that has been done on the CSMS side. We are now publishing tariff messages that we receive via California pricing, also via the consumer APIs. There was one issue that we addressed when certificates were requested by the data transfer mechanism. We were reporting not found if the certificate type was empty, while the specification actually requires to include all the certificates that are installed. And the meter public key format of the configuration key has slightly changed, and that has added as well. What's currently still in progress is to finish up the storage migration of 1.6 and 2.x, and that's what we will continue with to enable runtime switching between the different versions. So that's what we are planning to work on next, while Compleo and potentially also Pionix is going to continue to work on the bidirectional functional block of OSPP 2.1. And on the car side, we have mostly fixes this time. One bigger change was the restructuring of the charger state machine in the EVS eManager module. It was required to improve the pause handling in ISO 15118 and also use cases with no power being available during a charging session or before a charging session, and to be able to recover from ISO sessions that failed. So that should now put EVerest in a good position to actually always being able to restart ISO 15118 sessions if the car is ready for it. So that improved the stability a lot. There was an issue with the XC decoding for that could occur for DC charging sessions that we were able to solve. That's the second point that is highlighted here. And I also won't go through all of them, but you can find the details in the PRs and also in the release notes, of course.
And maybe as a quick side comment, we saw tremendous activity in the car communication working group over the last several weeks. So it's a while that, so let's say 2-3 years ago, OCP working group or the cloud communication working group was the really, really hot one. Right now it's the car communication. And there's a lot of new contributors, a lot of organizations joining that. So let's continue with vulnerability management team. Kai, do you want to take that yourself?
Yeah, sure. As the release is now out, we can also give a recommendation basically to update to the newest release, because there have been, I think it was around 20 different security vulnerabilities reported in the last month. So basically since January. And they have all been fixed in this release. Some more information about the fixed bugs and changelog. There's also CVEs in the process of being published by GitHub about it, and big thanks to SecMate and Finder16 who reported all of these issues in the last couple of weeks.
And I think you had a very detailed list in the changelog. Thanks a lot. So on the release notes.
Yes, you can find the release notes on the link above for the 2026-020 release, which is the first release under the new release policy. We had a quite extensive testing period of 5 weeks and 4 release candidates and multiple companies that were involved in testing. So thanks for everyone who was involved here. We also have all the infrastructure in place to do the backporting. So backporting should go to the stable 2026-02 branch, and in the GitHub repository, we enabled an action that allows you to just put a label like backport stable 2026-02 to automatically open a pull request that you would like to backport.
Thanks a lot. So let's continue with the community proposals. So first, let's start with the National Science Foundation funding for safe open source projects. And I think we have you here. And if you're here, please take the stage, and I will click for you through the slides.
Yeah. Just want to share great news. Our NSR proposal have already advanced to the first round and is invited into the second round. And just as you know, only 36 teams get invited into the final round, and they're gonna find. Last year they found 10 teams, so we got a great chance to get funded, because usually the acceptance rate, funding rate is only like 3 to 5%, but we already entered into the second round, and they only have like 36 teams to compete with, include me, to get the chance to be funded. So I think, and also from the program direct comments on our proposal, the PD thought our proposal is very strong given the very mature and very mature like community of the LF Energy organization. So they thought that this is a very good test bed or very good target organization to improve the security resilience of the supply chain security. So I think that's a pretty great news. And in the next few slides, I just want to talk about, so because currently we are in the budgeting phase, we want to know like how much budget we should divide to the maintainer if they later on, once we implement this pipeline, like how many developers hours need to be budgeted to test or evaluate those pipeline. So this kind of hours, developer hours, can be directly budgeted from the NSF funding and directed to the maintainer directed to the project itself. So the first question I want to get the feedback or insight from you guys is that for like developing, deploying or testing, evaluate the whole pipeline, like how, like roughly like how many developer hours we should budget for you guys to set out.
Quick wish. We will publish this as recording on YouTube, so we try to get the discussion and the recording slow. So we will do all that question answering at the end.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
So just go through this, and then we can discuss it after the recording.
Okay. Then this is just a question about development. Yeah, we can go to next page. And also the community engagement activities, because this is also an important factor determining whether the proposal is being funded or not, because they really want to they really emphasize the community engagement. How can you educate and train the developers how to apply the best practice in the future? Yeah, so this is one thing we want to also discuss. And the sustainability, of course, the NSF funding is only 2 period. So the officer also care about once the 2 years funding is spent out, how can we maintain this pipeline to be continue around, to continue benefit the community? This also one question we want to discuss.
Thanks a lot. So next topic is AI generated contributions. Pete, you want to take that?
Yes, we discussed this the last 2 times in the TSC, and I created a pull request with a suggestion for a few paragraphs that we add to the contribution guidelines. Those are screenshotted on the right side. I think they have been reviewed by all of you, so we now added this to the guidelines. It mainly includes a more detailed paragraph on contributor responsibilities that we should have in there anyways, and there's a separate paragraph on AI generated contributions, and we decided to explicitly require a human contributor for contributions.
Thanks a lot. So then we have another proposal, which is new and which I would love to present. EVerest project is growing quite a bit, and we have so many amazing contributors here. We have, by the way, along the lines, established certain structures and behavioral patterns we would now love to formalize. The technical steering committee is currently 7 members, and in theory it could also grow further if we nominate, or if people nominate themselves, and we adding people here. But there's just one formal role, which is the TSC chair. That's my role at the moment. And theoretically, I'm responsible for everything, and others can just vote. And would love to split up this role a bit to break out certain tasks. For example, a more technical role, and over time, and also let's say a more back office operational role. So roughly speaking, the idea would be that what remains with the chair is liaison to the LF Energy, upstream political ecosystem, focusing on growing the ecosystem, onboarding new alliances, new not customers, new industrial players, new academia, getting partners together, getting the vision out, and kind of marketing the product as well. The technical role which you would try to break out is really on the architecture side, on the technical vision, on the roadmap, on helping to coordinate the pull request reviews, triage, release management. Doesn't mean that he or she is doing all of that on her or his own, but it's the ownership is there. Community management, that's an interesting role. A quick background story. It looks like LF Energy has budget for hiring a shared community manager across different products. I made the request, and I think they're very seriously looking into this. If this happens, and if we're lucky, we're getting a part-time position assigned to EVerest, who helps to align meeting logistics, onboard contributors, we're helping on marketing, helping on cleaning up statistics with the dashboard. Let's see, we can define more details on the community manager, I think, when time comes. And as soon as the budget is approved and there's someone hired, we'll also have to align that upstream with the LF Energy community. But just as a precursor, likely, I guess, this will happen as well. And for today, would suggest later on in the voting section and the discussion section, a split of the technical chair and breaking out the technical role out of that. We just need a vote on that. We don't have to change our structure. That's a good thing on our statutes. That's rather straightforward. And also, if you look in the industry, those kind of splits are kind of common if you have a big open source project. And meanwhile, we're getting there. So what else? Pete, this is on you. There's a new regular meeting you want to highlight?
Yes, we introduced a Triage meeting that is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. in the morning, Central European Time, where we actually did this Pionix internally for a while and then decided to open this up to give other maintainers and contributors the chance to join and also to split up the work a little bit more. So this is now public. And we usually go through the new issues that have been entered since last week and assign the pull requests, discuss pull requests, and sometimes also discuss like architectural topics or things around the release. So I think it's a good opportunity for maintainers to get together and discuss the development of the project, apart from just assigning work items.
I think before this was a lot on Zulip and a lot on mailing lists and a lot in tickets. I think now having a slot for that also to talk over it is I think the new thing here.
Yeah. And nothing else changed. We have the Energy Management Working Group bi-weekly every Monday at 4:30 Central European Time. The Community Welcome Call Tuesday at 11, Cloud Communication Working Group Wednesday at 4, and Car Communication also Wednesday at 3:30.
Yes.
And on the right side, we have TSC, EVerest CPO Forum, and the ZIC, all monthly calls.
Thanks a lot. So then on recap, I think on the last TSC, I forgot to mention that we had a really well visited slot on FOSSDEM, and we talked about basically reliability in EVerest, what different things the EVerest community is doing, and if you're interested in that, it's on YouTube. We will also put a link into the show notes, and I think we had roughly 100 people in the room. Yeah, it was always fully squeezed. Then quick recap of the last CPO forum happened 2 days ago, and the next one will be roughly a month from now. We showcased the virtual charger park coming up where you, as a Pionix product, because there you can easily launch Docker containers with EVerest inside and help CPOs to play around with EVerest without setting that stuff up all on their own. We discussed a bit on how we could get towards tender templates for EVerest. Amazon suggested that they're looking into their own tender templates and requirement documents and maybe tailoring that together with EVerest community. that we make this more Everest specific. We discussed how to onboard chargers, what gaps we have there, and yeah, and then besides that, the CPO forum will probably get through the mailing list, will get their own website landing page, so also to grow this further. And again, also we discussed we will probably meet face to face next to the Power to Drive and also in autumn in Germany. So also, I think yesterday we had a webinar with SunSpec Alliance and the European Commission about how to bring things together with Everest. Pete presented a white paper on how we could imagine bringing their open source implementation of SunSpec and Everest together by writing an Everest Bridge module, which loads the library. We're now looking for people who are interested in implementing that. There will be support from the SunSpec Alliance. There will be support from the Everest community. And one option to do those hacking things is the Open Energy Hackathon from the, I think, Oakland Energy Labs, which will be shown on the next slides. They have this as challenge and many more other things. Yeah, here it is, Energy IoT Labs. They have this one challenge with SunSpec and Everest, and they have another challenge where they try to revitalize existing or legacy chargers and try to squeeze an Everest inside things they have on the curbside. Also there, you can join that remotely if you're not part of the San Francisco Climate Week, or you can also join on site. So what else is upcoming? The Giant Festival. Then we will have, in I think 2 weeks from now, we will showcase Everest and the Eclipse Foundation Software-Defined Vehicle Working Group in the Technical Alignment meeting. As far as I know, they're looking into getting the car communication side of charging also into their work. And in a way, Everest has a lot of things there for our emulators. And maybe we can create some new friends here. There will be the Energy Tech Summit in Bilbao in Spain, where we'll have an open source side event around Everest and more. I mentioned the hackathon, next CPO forum, Nordic EV Summit, more festivals, more plug fests. Big shout out is the Everest community meetup next to the Power to Drive. Also there, Luma pages online, you can register. ICNC again, and then we have the event and Everest Hackathon we planned for end of September. And if you have any wishes or ideas there or want to join with a talk or hack challenge, please reach out to us. And that's it for the main part. We'll soon open up for the discussion. The next TSC will be 23rd of April, same, oh, not 2025, 2026. Wrong number here. 5 o'clock. Updated with some links here as well, where you can find all the meetups, all the working group meetings. Yeah, looking forward to it. And let's stop the recording and open up the discussion.